And outside the box reviews, Giant Monster Mania, we are taking a look at the Bandai Tamashii Nations Ultra Act Ultraman Renewal Version figure. And yeah, I finally broke down and got myself an Ultra Act figure. I'm a very casual fan, or I guess a beginning fan of Ultraman. I picked up the entire series of the first Ultraman on DVD, and I'm slowly working my way through it. But watching Diego Doom's awesome Ultra Act reviews, it really made me want one of these figures to go along with my Godzilla 1964. So I broke down and got the original Ultraman here. And I find it unique that this exists in its own little line within the Bandai Tamashii Nations products. It's not Monster Arts, it's not Figuarts, it's Ultra Act, Ultraman's own little line. But even though this figure to me kind of goes more in with the Monster Arts figures, accessories he comes with really remind me of a lot more of the Figuarts figures, just in sheer quantity and variety. So let's take a look. And just as you'd expect with a figure like this, he comes with a huge variety of different hands. We get fist hands for either side, we have relaxed hands, we have karate chop flat hands, we have open kind of grasping hands or grappling hands, and then we have, I guess it's either the peace sign, or I think I've seen it be like V for victory, or he could be flipping the bird in England or something. I don't know. But a total of 9 different hands here, and they're all sculpted very nicely. I mean, they're basically just a silvery gloved looking hand, but they all look very, very nice. On Ultraman's back here, we have a removable section of the fin going down his spine. Pop that piece right out, and we can pop in the replacement, and we can see the replacement has a peg hole in it. And this is designed to use with our Tamashii stands. So we can then peg our stand right into Ultraman's back, and then we can get Ultraman into jumping or flying poses without having to use a clip around his waist, which is really, really cool. I wish more figures would use this technology, especially within the S.H. Monster Arts and Figuarts line. I think this would be great on some Dragon Ball Z characters. They use it with Mario as well, so I feel like it needs to become more prevalent in this line. There's another port up here at the top of Ultraman's spine that unpegs. Now this is for an accessory that doesn't come with this Ultraman figure. I believe this houses the brother's mantle, sold separately. We also have this very, very tiny red color timer. We can remove the blue color timer from Ultraman's chest, and we can replace it with the red one, signifying that Ultraman's running low on power, which is a great addition to the figure. Pretty much in every episode, Ultraman starts running low on power, signified by the red color timer, so you could swap it out and make your scene look a little more desperate. Ultraman comes with 2 ground effects. These are really nice translucent pieces that are mirror images of each other, but they kind of have this fiery look to them, as well as some kind of gravel coming up. I believe this is supposed to make Ultraman look like he's running and kicking up dust behind him, and these are really nice looking. I originally thought they're supposed to sit up on their side like this, and I wasn't really sure how that worked, but now I realize they actually sit flat on the ground like this. And then when you have Ultraman running, you can have these effects making it look like he's kicking up dirt or fire or whatever behind him. I guess you could run him on either side. You could have the long piece on the inside of his foot or the outside, just depending on what you feel works best for your scene. But I think this is a pretty cool inclusion with this set. Then we get what I believe is called the Ultra Slash. I haven't even gotten far enough in the series. I don't think I've ever actually seen this on the show yet, but it's a very, very cool looking piece. A nice blue translucent plastic that's lighter in the middle and gets darker out in the edges. And then it comes with its own hand built right in, and that way we don't have to get the accessory in Ultraman's hand. We just peg the hand in and have the accessory ready to go. Get a similar effect with his most iconic move here, the big blue beam shooting out of his hand, and I'm such a noob, I don't even know the real name of it, but it looks great. We have a nice burst effect coming out of the side of the hand, this kind of digitized beam coming out the rest, breaks off at the end, this uneven jaggedness. I really dig how this looks and how it mirrors what's on the show. A very, very cool piece, once again with its own hand built in, make it very easy just to pop this on the figure and have him ready to display. Ultraman himself, I think, is very nicely detailed. He's a very simple character, not a whole lot of crazy stuff going on here, but they pulled it off very nicely. We have the iconic head, a very pointy shaped head with a kind of mohawk spike going down the middle of it. Looks very nice. Nice separation between the silver and the red here. His little square ears. His big bulging looking bug eyes, which are actually a translucent plastic with kind of a compound thing going on inside, and even the tiny little slots here at the bottom, which were the holes in the mask that the actor looked out of, which is a really nice touch. The little little impression of a mouth there at the bottom of it. Very simple neck. Coming down here to the torso, looks very nice. It's a very narrow shouldered body, which allows to add a lot more articulation when you get the figure moving. And also not as much kind of musculature detail as you get in other figures, because this was kind of a big latexy rubber suit that a guy wore, so there really wasn't a whole lot of detail in there. They have made this a much cleaner look than it is in the show, and the show it always looks a little rough. Here, they kind of went with the spirit of the suit as opposed to what the suit actually came out as. But you do get the impression of some muscles and stuff going on in the stomach here. We already saw the fin here in the back. A nice red color to go along with the silver as well. The silver is very, very shiny, and the red is not a completely matte colored plastic, but it doesn't reflect as much light as the silver does and adds a nice contrast there. The sculpting is well done. You can see they even kind of indent around the armpit there to get the arm nice and close into the side without really hindering the sculpt all that much. Got his red kind of underpants down there going into his legs. Really nicely detailed legs, more of that red detailing that's very show accurate. Then his simple little ultra feet with his slightly upturned toes and a nice seam going down the middle there. For articulation, Ultraman is loaded. We do have a ball joint at the base of the neck, so you can look a little up and down, left and right, as well as tilt his head. We do also have a ball joint at the base of the neck to add to that range of articulation, giving him a great range of movement there. The shoulders are on a dual ball joint system, so they can shift forward, back, up, and down, as well as actually move around in the socket there. They can go out to the side and forward and back. We have a swivel here at the shoulder, which is very cool, except for the fact that it's this separate piece of plastic that comes around in a weird way, which makes it difficult to get certain poses. In the beginning, I was trying to have him in his appearance pose, with his arm going out to the side. It's a little hindered by the way the shoulder's done. Now, granted, any action figure would probably have a problem doing this pose without having big clunky ball shoulders, but I would have really liked to be able to get that pose a little more easily. Maybe if they'd given us a little more of a gap in here inside the shoulder joint, we could actually pull it off a little bit better. So you have a nice double joint at the elbow. The wrist will swivel as well as hinge, and then you can move the hand and have that hinge affect a different axis there, very similar to a Hot Toys joint. Very, very nice. A ball joint at the mid torso, so you can move all around, rotate, as well as move back and forth and side to side. We have another ball joint here at the waist, so you can move around, swivel as well. No pull apart here like we have on the Figuarts figures really, but it is a great range of motion without it. You can get very far crunches forward and pretty far back as well. Here at the legs, very similar to what we have with Figuarts. They can move forward, back, and out to the side. Then we could drop that joint down, really expand that range of motion, which is fantastic. We do have a swivel at the upper leg. Not a ton of motion here, but enough to get some cool poses. Very nice double jointed knee. I think the knee is really well done. It continues a very smooth look, even though it's fully bent. Doesn't have that kind of chopped up look that a lot of knees do on action figures. Then the foot joint is similar to the hand, so you can move forward and back as well as rotate, and you can get that on a different axis if you wanted to get a nice ankle pivot or something. And then we have a nice toe joint here as well. And here's our Ultra Act Ultraman figure alongside the S.H. Monster Arts Godzilla 1964 and the Revoltech Baragon figure. And I'm gonna say Ultraman is a little taller than he should be for this line. He's probably better in scale with the normal S.H. Monster Arts figures as opposed to this shorter 64 version. But I picked this 64 to compare it to because this suit, along with I believe the Baragon suit, were used as villains in the Ultraman universe from time to time because they were all made by Tsuburaya Studios. So I think if you're going to want to pose any of your kaiju from other lines with Ultraman, it would be these two. And overall, I really, really dig this figure. I think it's a spectacularly done figure. It contains a lot of the best elements that I see in the Figuarts figures with a couple extra twists to it to make it uniquely Ultra Act. And this figure gets a strong recommend. And from what I've seen, all the Ultraman figures are very similar, especially the ones using this new renewal style body with the added articulation. So if one of the Ultramen is your favorite and not the original here, I think as long as it's one using this body, it would make you equally happy to how I am with this figure. And as I admitted before in this review, I am not an expert in Ultraman. So anybody really interested in Ultraman figures, definitely check out Diego Doom's reviews. He has reviewed, I think, all of these guys. And they're really in-depth, great reviews. And also make sure to check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also follow me on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box review, Giant Monster Mania. Stay tuned for more to come.